breaking news today. The jobs numbers came out this morning. I guess they were lower than expected. But you've announced that you're firing your a Biden appointee, the head of the Bureau of Labor and Statistics. Her name, Dr. Erica McIntarfer. Tell us about what was going on here.
Well, it's a Biden appointee, and we've had problems in the past, and we had problems even before the election. You remember those wonderful results that were put out just before the election, and everybody said, where do they come from? Then I think they adjusted it after the election, and we had some difficulties with her, and there have been a lot of questions, and we fired her because we didn't believe the numbers today. Even though interest rates are too high, we have a terrible head of the Fed. He keeps interest rates too high, and I could understand that, but I don't believe those numbers. I think because we're doing so well, and we fired her. This is not something from just now. This was before the election, where she got, meaning Kamala. We thought it was Biden, but turned out being Kamala, where they got very, very strong numbers. I said, what's this all about? And they adjusted them, and then later on they adjust them, I guess, downward. But we don't want that. We want straight numbers. I was thinking this morning when I saw the numbers, I said, who makes these numbers anyway? I never gave it much thought other than before the election, but it didn't work out too well. For them, I won the election. So maybe people don't believe it or whatever, but I was saying to myself, I wonder who does this. And when I checked, I said, this person is very suspect to me. So we fired.
So the accusation is this person was essentially cooking the books and the numbers are not accurate.
Well, I think there's some strange things going on because just before, same person, just before the election, they came out with these great numbers. And I said, I don't believe those numbers. They weren't good. And then I believe they had to do some correcting a little bit after the election. But no, we don't want that. We don't want to take any chances. We don't want to play any games.
I want to ask you about Jerome Powell, and you posted this on Truth Social, sir, just recently. Jerome Powell, too late Powell, has done it again. He's too late, too angry, too stupid, too political to have a job as Fed chair. Why don't you remove him?
They say it would disturb the market. I would remove him in a heartbeat, but they say it would disturb the market, and he gets out in 7 or 8 months, and I'll put somebody else in. But
is it a possibility that you remove him? Because you have cause. To me, that $700 million disaster down the road at the Fed headquarters is cause to remove somebody.
He's building a building for $2.9 billion, a renovation for $2.9 billion, the Fed. And it's not that intricate inside to start off with. I do a lot of that.
Right.
I built a very successful hotel on Pennsylvania Avenue as a renovation. The old post office. I know more about renovating buildings or building buildings than like anybody maybe. And I will tell you, he's got $2.9 billion that they're spending in this thing, and really more than that if you include the whole project. And it's way over budget by hundreds of millions of dollars. And he shouldn't be doing that. It's almost like he's building a palace for himself, but he's not going to be there much longer anyway. That's the good news. He'll never get to use it. No, the Fed rate is too high. Interest rates are too high. And despite that, we have a great economy.
We do, but Jerome Powell stays in place for now.
Well, it's very disruptive if you fire, so I would say most likely, yeah.
Okay. The markets today are up and down. Today is tariff day. Today was an important day, but you've had another incredible week that doesn't get the attention it probably should. There were several A-list events this week. The GDP numbers were great. Right. We had a surplus in June. Inflation is, I think, 2.4%. What's your message to Americans who might be concerned about paying more, perhaps even in the short term, for things that they need?
Well, before the message, I have to say that I think that these numbers were incorrect today. Not that they were horrible. I've seen much worse numbers than this, but right. I think that these numbers were incorrect today because nobody saw this coming. Nobody saw the smaller numbers not only announced, but going back and restating her numbers because she made a mistake. That was the bigger numbers. So I think they're wrong. Very importantly, we have prices down. We have energy way down. Inflation is almost non-existent. It's way down from what it was. They had the highest inflation, essentially in the history of our country. They say 48 years. I would say it's much beyond 48 years. The place was a mess.
June of 2022, it was over 9%.
Right. So
you left office, it was 1.4%.
That's correct. And now we have it down again. We brought it down. But prices are down. When I hear the Democrats, they come out with sound bites. They say, prices are up under Trump. No, they're way down. I brought them way down. Even eggs, you remember the first week, Rob, I went in and they said, eggs are up 4 or 5 times. It was like crazy what was happening with eggs. Don't buy eggs. I fixed that, and I fixed it rapidly before Easter and so many other things. But prices are actually way down. Prices are down for groceries. They're down for energy, oil. You see what's happening with oil. We have some states where it's $1.99 a gallon, more typically $2.33 a gallon. And they were at $3.90. They were really much higher than that during terms of the Biden administration. He took our energy policy, which was unbelievable. He ended it. And then he tried to bring it back as fast as he could because you were going to go up to $7 or $8 a gallon. So he brought it back, but that didn't work out too well. No, we're doing a great job.
The national average for gas under Joe Biden set an all-time record, and it was at $5 a gallon.
Yeah,
that had never happened before.